Good.
Sure.
Cheers.
Well, cheers
Finally.
to you.
Thank you for being here.
I'm happy to be here.
So before we start, why
Yes.
don't you introduce yourself
I'm
and what
Patricia
you do?
Rockwell, and I'm a publisher, and my company is Cozy Cat Press.
And we have a cat here with us.
Yes, this is our
Cosette.
mascot, and her name is Cosette. She's very well behaved, so I have a feeling she'll probably sleep through this entire interview unless you want to wake her up. But
How long have you had her?
pretty much the whole time I've been in business, about 10 years,
Wow.
and she's just a real nice cat to have around. And
She's your little buddy.
she's my buddy. She goes places with me, and she sleeps through pretty much everything I do. So
That's nice.
Yes.
That's
she's
nice.
a good girl.
So you were telling me before that you started this like post-career, right?
I'm retired. I used to be a communication professor at the University
right.
of Louisiana in Lafayette, and spent a lot of time doing research and teaching
Wow.
some classes. But I edited a journal for 8 years, an academic journal.
Oh, really?
So I had a lot of experience editing and working with printers and dealing with those kinds of and reviewers and all of the issues that any editor would have to do. This was all academic research. And that's, believe me, editing an academic article is a lot more complex than editing fiction. Because you don't have to worry about whether somebody is making a statement that is, scientifically accurate or not, or has the statistical support, et cetera, when you're editing fiction. But I had no experience whatsoever with selling anything because academic journals are just published for researchers and for professors in their field, and if they're a member of a particular group, they'll get the academic journal that goes with whatever subject matter they're involved in. So I have a lot of experience editing and publishing. I just don't have any experience working with fiction or selling anything.
Yeah.
So the selling and the fiction was what was really new to me when I started 10 years ago, wanting to publish fiction. I read a lot of fiction, read a lot of mysteries, loved mysteries, but I didn't realize there'd be that many differences. There aren't really a lot of differences in the editing part or the publishing part. The big differences are in how you have to promote. With fiction, you have to do a lot to promote your books because if you don't, you're not going to sell any. And if you don't sell any books, you might as well not be in business. If you're an academic publisher, nobody really cares if 2 people read your journal or 2,000 people.
Published, right?
The people that are published in your journal are thrilled to be published in your journal because they've been published and now they can get tenure.
Yes.
Or they hope they can get tenure. So there's that element, and that was never really a concern. So nobody really cared how many journals I printed. If I printed 25 or 2,500, didn't matter. But now it matters a great deal. If you have 25 that you sell, or 2,500 or 25,000, that makes a huge difference, because otherwise, why are you doing this if you're only going to sell a couple of copies?
So what is the process of publishing? Like, what do you...
You mean to publish fiction?
Yeah, to publish fiction.
Well, it differs for different companies, and it's been changing rather dramatically, I would say, over the last 10... Actually, it started changing rather dramatically right when I was getting involved in it with the self-publishing movement that was implemented by the rise in Amazon and the fact that people can literally produce a book themselves and get it published on Amazon. That's not really what we do. We are an actual publishing company. People that write mysteries submit their books to me.
Okay.
I read them, I screen them, I decide which ones I think are good.
Right.
And then I'll either accept them or reject them.
Wow.
And I reject far more than oh my gosh, yes.
What is your process? Do you have like a set process for each one?
I read them to see if they're any good and if I like them or not. Well, intuition in the respect that I've read so many that I have sort of a sense of what makes a good mystery.
Wow.
I mean, it's not just like I throw a rock
coin,
in the air and say, woo, one or the other. But, I would read them and see if they have all the good elements that make for a good, exciting mystery. If it's well written, if it's something if it looks like it's something I'm going to have to do a lot of rewriting on, a huge amount of rewriting on, then that might be, grounds for maybe a rejection, or what I would call a revise and resubmit letter, which means I would say, we like your book, but there are a lot of problems with it.
Do you tell them what those problems are?
Yes, I usually do. I say these are the problems, and if you would like to address them and rewrite your manuscript, I'd be happy to read it again.
Oh, nice.
But there are a lot of people that submit manuscripts, and I tell them right off the bat, I'm sorry, this just isn't going to work. I can't accept it. Best of luck to you. Good luck in your future. I don't try to be nasty to anybody, but a lot of times they just submit books that just aren't right, because number one, they're just not mysteries.
Oh.
If you send me an autobiography of Abraham Lincoln, I'm not going to publish that because it's not a mystery.
Do you think they're just out there, like, do they email you these things, or are you getting hard copies?
Well, if they're smart, they'll email me a copy.
Okay.
There are one or two diehards every once in a while who send me an actual manuscript in the mail, but I usually will. I don't want to say toss it in the trash, but usually I will try to find an email address for them and email back and say, would you please send me an email copy, because I can't really function with a hard copy anymore. I need an email copy because that's how I'm going to function with handling the manuscript. I have to read it that way. I have to evaluate it that way. I have to maintain a copy of it that way. I have to do all of the revisions and et cetera on on my computer.
So you read all of these novels on your computer?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, really.
Because I feel like I don't like reading things on my computer.
Well, I don't read every one. Okay. If somebody sends me a book and it says Autobiography of Abraham Lincoln, I'm not going to read that.
Right.
Unless they say, well, it's really a mystery. I don't know why I called it the autobiography.
I guess it could be a mystery.
Right.
You don't know.
But and usually when they send a manuscript, they send a cover letter.
Okay.
And they will say, this is a cozy mystery. I'm sending it to you because, I would like you to publish it. This is what happens, like a sentence or two of a synopsis or maybe a paragraph. And if they do that and it sounds like it's a cozy mystery,
so
then
they've got to hook you right away.
Well, they've got to tell me that it's a cozy mystery.
Yeah.
It's not like a ghost story. It's not like a horror story. It's not like a romantic novel that's just a romance and doesn't have any mystery involved. Yeah. And there are a lot of people that do that. Yeah. Yes. And if it's one of those,
that's the cozy, not the mystery.
Right. And it's easy to write back and say, thank you very much, but this is not a cozy mystery. We only publish cozy mysteries. Please try XYZ Press or something like that.
So how do you, what defines a cozy mystery?
A cozy mystery is a subgenre of general mysteries that is light and is oriented towards the main character being an amateur.
Oh.
The main character is usually an amateur person, usually in a small village that tries to solve a crime.
Okay.
Think Agatha Christie's books. Think Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah.
Think anybody that's not like a detective at the New York Police.
Not like a Nancy Drew.
Yeah, Nancy Drew. Except I would not publish Nancy Drew because they're for teenagers.
Yes.
And I do not publish books for children or teens or young adults.
Okay.
There are plenty of publishers that do that.
Right.
And I'm not one of them. But if somebody sent me that, I would suggest that they send their manuscript to a young adult publisher.
And do you have publishers you refer to, or do you?
Yes, I would suggest different places they could send their manuscript if it's obviously something that's not right for us, and I know where it could go.
Right. What's interesting to me about this from a marketing perspective is that you're very specific about your niche.
Yes.
And I try to get clients to kind of zero in on that. And even for myself, it's really hard sometimes to stick within those boundaries.
Yeah,
it means you're saying no to a lot of people, like you
do.
said.
But in a way, it's kind of easy to say no if there's a reason to say no that isn't going to hurt their feelings. Like,
exactly.
I mean, I'm sorry I can't do this. It's not what we do.
Right.
We only do cozy mysteries. Yours is a police procedural, or yours is a paranormal psych horror story. We don't publish those things.
Interesting. And you're not offending anyone. And then if you can refer them, because I have a list of people I can refer to as well. And then, I'm not a match for you, but these people over here would be great.
Well, it's like, when you're, if somebody wants, if you want to date somebody, you may not want to date a certain type of person, but
not everyone's
that person might be right for your friend.
Exactly.
Somebody else. So I think it works out just fine for us. And plus, if I tried to publish everybody that sent me a manuscript, I barely have enough hours in the day as it is. I'm up to here with manuscripts. And it's just all I can do to keep up with. I have over 50 authors and almost 200 books now.
Oh my gosh.
And once I've accepted an author, I accept their books.
Oh, and all of their books?
Pretty much. As long as they continue to write cozy mysteries.
Wow.
And there's no reason for them not to, if that's what they've established and they have a main character they're going to follow and do other mysteries with that main character.
Gotcha.
Then if they send me a new book that's a new adventure of Susie Smith, their amateur sleuth, then I'm going to automatically accept that book.
Oh, okay.
And if there is a problem with it, it's usually, I've never run into a problem with one of my regular authors where I've ever had to say, can't do it, this book is awful, I give up.
Gotcha.
But I do sometimes send it back and say, we have a few problems, you need to work on X, Y, and Z, let's see if we can revise a little bit. So I do that.
Have some of these people been with you for the entire 10 years?
When I first started, it was just my own books that I wrote and a friend of mine and the books that she wrote. We thought that's all we would do.
Oh, really?
We thought we would just publish her books and my books.
Oh, my gosh.
So we had a website that, we presented her books because she had two at the time and she had one at the time and I had one at the time. We thought, 2 books, it's great website, And pretty soon then I had another one and then she had another one. And by the time we both had 2, boom, we had another person that wanted us to publish and then a third person that went and then a fourth person.
Wow.
And pretty soon I was having less and less time to write my own books. Right. And I was spending more and more time publishing the books of the people that were submitting their books to me.
Wow.
So it got to be like, the hours in the day got to be consumed by my authors rather than by my own writing.
So when you set out to do this, 2 questions. The first one.
Yes.
Were you writing your book first before?
I was writing first, and I did try submitting, because this was before the self-publishing movement, because I did try to submit my first book to some traditional publishers, but it is a lengthy, laborious process.
Yes.
You wait forever, because years.
They have to read it.
They have to read it and then reevaluate it. And I would and also you cannot do what are called simultaneous submissions, which means you can't submit to Simon & Schuster and then also submit to Harcourt Brace at the same time.
So you have to wait for one to
deny it and to reject it before you can even begin to think about submitting it somewhere else.
Really?
Because they get really mad if you do that. It's called a simultaneous submission, and they want their place to be the only place where you are submitting your book.
Even though they might decline it in 2 years.
Right, doesn't matter.
Wow.
Because they want to make their, if they decide to accept it, they don't want it to be being considered by another publisher. So I understand the rationale, but it's horrible. Maybe it's okay for a 20-year-old who's just starting out writing and maybe doing something else and writing in their spare time to have years and years and years and years and years for this process to take effect. But as a retired person, I wasn't interested. I was retired. I wanted to be busy and do something.
This was your focus.
So this is all I wanted to do. And when I saw that I was going to be spending most of my time just waiting, I said, to heck with this. I will just try to do this myself. And I realized with the new, I thought first I would have to publish in the regular way, where I'd have to go to a local printer, print off 1,000 copies, and then walk from bookstore to bookstore and see if I could get them to put 5 copies of my book in their bookstore. But I didn't have to do that, because pretty soon I realized that you could post your books on Amazon, and well, it was other places at first, but then eventually you could post books on Amazon, and you didn't have to go to a book printer down the street, spend a small fortune on printing 1,000 books that were going to sit in your garage forever.
Oh my gosh!
You didn't have to do that anymore. And you didn't have to spend your time if somebody contacted you and said, I'd like to buy your book. Here's my check for $20. And then I had to write a check to, have it mailed and all that rigmarole that I have no interest in doing.
Right.
I'm not interested in shipping things to people. It doesn't interest me in the slightest. I don't care about bookkeeping and who bought this and who bought that. I don't care about that. Amazon's great at that.
So Amazon is your main...
we do everything through Amazon. Okay. They do now what's called POD, which is print on demand.
Oh, wow.
Which means that they don't keep a stock of any of our books.
Okay.
If you went to an Amazon warehouse, you would not find 20, you wouldn't even find 20 copies of this book.
Okay.
You would find that they have a file, though.
Wow.
You would find they have a file of all of my books, so that if you go online and buy a copy, they'll just... in 2 minutes, they'll have a copy printed and in the mail to you. I mean, it'll be so...
And it'll look just like this.
It'll be exactly like that. And they'll print it so fast that it'll make your head spin.
Wow.
And it'll be in its package and out the door. So Amazon is fabulous about getting things done into packages and out the door to people.
Yeah.
You may have, anybody who buys anything from Amazon, what you don't know is not only are they good at shipping and getting to you fast, they don't just take these books that are sitting there in their warehouse. They take the file off of the computer and print the book itself. They get a special copy just printed for you, stick it in a container and mail it to you, all within, a matter of a day or two.
So then it's published by Cozy Cat.
We are the publisher. Amazon is the printer.
Oh, wow. I didn't know they did that.
Well, they don't do anything about editing it. They can care less.
You just give them the final product.
I give them the file that's all edited and has all of the artwork done and the formatting and the pagination and all of that stuff. I send to them, and then they print it on their printer and put it in a package and send it to whoever orders it.
Wow. That is so crazy. That blows my mind.
It is great.
I didn't know that.
Anybody that wants to publish a book, it's pretty easy these days.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to get rich doing it, you're not going to.
Because you're selling one at a time? Or because...
Well, no, not because of that. Because you could sell, if you had a lot of fans, you could sell a lot of books. But, I mean... Cozy mysteries are not Twilight. Yeah. They are not, what's the other thing? What's the one with the, I'm trying to think of the three, with the...
Harry Potter?
Well, they're not Harry Potter for sure. If they were Harry Potter, I would not be sitting in this basement talking to you. You would have the coup of the century. My books were Harry Potter. But yeah, no, they're not these big,
What's the one you're thinking of?
Well, it's one that Jennifer Lawrence was in, the three.
Oh,
not Twilight, but what's
it called? Catching Fire and Hunger Games.
Hunger Games, yeah.
Yes.
It's not that series of books that were very popular with teenagers and young adults.
But that's not your audience.
No, of course not. My audience is not teenagers.
Right.
I think very few teenagers probably read cozy mysteries, although there's no reason why they can't.
Yeah.
I mean, they're welcome to, and we are happy to have teenage readers, and we don't turn them away. We're saying, you're a teenager, we don't want you. It's not like that. It's just most of them, it's a cozy mystery is very cozy. Mm-hmm. It is not violent. It is not terribly action-filled. There are not a lot of people killing each other. It's very gentle.
It's an easy read.
It's easy to read. So in that respect, teenagers probably would like it because it's not hard to read. But it's easy in the respect that it's easy on the emotions, too. It is not very violent.
Yes.
Even though it's going to be a dead body somewhere, you just hear about the dead body. Dead body's over there in the other room. Now let's talk about how that person got smashed on the head. We won't look at the smash on the head or discuss the blood or anything. Let's just figure out who could have smashed him on the head.
Yeah.
And, who the possible, criminals are, who the possible murderer could be.
Wow, that's so interesting. Well, I guess I always go for the graphic books. Not so much the cozy ones.
Well, people your age tend to do that.
Yeah.
That's typical of a young person that likes things very intense and violent. As you get older, your sensitivities will probably change a little bit, where you will probably be less inclined to the violence and more inclined to the thought processes that go into why people do what they do and how they figure out why they figure out things.
And those books, the books that make you think a little bit more, are always so interesting. I was in a book club when I lived in Virginia. I was there. We had that book club. Well, they still have it. It still exists. It was called Box Wine Book Club, and we had shirts and everything.
There are so many women these days that belong to book clubs where they read books and drink wine.
Yeah.
And I would say that the wine probably wins out in most of those
instances. It really does.
As it is doing so here, right?
Yes, exactly.
Right.
And I sometimes would just not read the books and show up for the wine and the snacks, but it was fine. They still accepted me. But we had, for a little while there, had a very specific theme where we were reading a lot of mystery books.
Oh, yes.
But they weren't so much cozy. But what was the one... Gone Girl.
Oh yes, yes, I know the one you mean.
And then there was another one.
Well, they were major bestsellers.
Yes. Gone Girl and Girl on the Train.
You're right. I think those were major bestsellers.
Yeah. Yes. But then we kept reading ones like that, and both of those books, I mean, they had graphic elements to them, but then there was a lot of plot twists and thinking about who could have done it, how they could have done it, and so the ones that make you think as you get older,
those are the kinds of ones. Yeah, because I don't really care about reading about how bloody something is, or how gory the crime is. Nor do I really care about things where people are doing the crime. I don't care to hear about how somebody hit somebody really hard and how painful it was to be smashed on the head by this. And I care more about the figuring things out aspect of it. And I think most people that read cozies are doing so for that reason. It's a thought. It really does stimulate your thought processes. It does. And make you think more deeply, and
it's problem solving.
It is problem solving. It's not math,
but there's different types.
But there's it's kind of an element of math because it forces you to use your creativity as well as your mathematical kind of problem solving skills
and your imagination. Because you're having to visualize all of this,
right? How could he have gotten from his stateroom, in his cabin, and down to the to the cloakroom,
how is that
all
possible?
of that in 15 minutes, and then then you think about all the different ways that people could do things. And you let it brainstorming. Right. It's brainstorming for one person. And I always felt that, this is something I always taught my students when I was teaching, that brainstorming, whether you do it by yourself, just in your own mind, is probably one of the best things a person can do. And when you have a problem to solve, if you come up with a solution, boom, like that, my suggestion is not just to stop there, but to keep brainstorming until you come up with a variety of different possible solutions. And then evaluate one against the other. And sometimes when I do that, I find that my original solution might not be as good as I originally thought it was.
Exactly.
And I feel like I get this kind of approach, and I use this approach a lot when I'm dealing with problems in anything, that I get this from reading mysteries.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, because because oftentimes you run into a problem and you immediately come up with a solution. Right. And you think, yay, I figured it out.
Gut reaction.
Yeah, and then you don't stop to think, maybe there'd be another way I could handle this. Or even another way. And you ought to think about all of the different possible ways, because the second or third way you think of might actually be better than the first one that pops into your mind.
And sometimes you don't know until you start trying them.
Right.
So if you have a whole
and you've
list
got a repertoire of things you can do, if the first one doesn't work out,
you move on.
You don't say, oh no, what am I going to do? The first one didn't work. Yeah. You could, oh well, that's okay, that didn't work because I've already have a backup plan that I could do.
Do you know that that's pretty much marketing in a nutshell? Like, you have to have all of these different ideas, and marketing is not one grand good idea.
It's a variety,
a bunch of different, depending on your audience,
and there's no law that says you can't implement all of them.
Exactly.
If they're all really good and there's no reason why you can't do 3 of the things.
Yeah.
It's not like anybody said, well, you picked number 1, so you can't do 2 and 3.
No, who cares?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are certain circumstances, like if you're giving out, if you're a judge giving out a punishment, and you've got 3 choices, you go to jail, you're acquitted, the judge can't give you all 3. But I mean, in some instances, you can do, if you have a choice of different things, it is possible to implement all of your choices.
And I think the important thing is to understand you have choices.
You do, right.
And then, well, unless you're a judge, maybe that's that's
right.
not not our best example.
No.
But you have choices, and then 2, that when that choice doesn't work out, you can move on.
You
and
can.
It's the people that get stuck in the choice phase, and then the people that get stuck in the this didn't work, oh my God, my life is over phase.
They don't want to go back to the stage where they actually think about other possible choices.
Right. Why?
I don't know.
Well, maybe because
they think once you hit the implementation stage that you're stuck there.
Yeah, but you're not.
You're not. You can always go back and rethink and
that's what that phrase is, right? Like, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if you have all these options,
it's a good phrase, but a lot of people may take it literally, which I shouldn't be doing.
But it's true. Like, it's exercise. So I had a client in here the other night, and we put a giant piece of paper on the wall, and all we did was brainstorm, and we talked, and what's questions to like prompt her and get her going in the right direction. But
I love doing that. I think it's a really good idea. And I guess I don't do it the formal way with the Venn diagrams and things and this twirly and this cutting out portions of the Venn diagram. But I do it. I guess I've done it so many times that I kind of do it.
Do you do it mentally?
Intuitively.
Now? Okay.
Mentally for virtually everything.
Wow.
So even when I was telling you earlier about the problem I was having with Amazon and Amazon customer service, I'm going through my head, this happened to me today with this situation.
Right.
All right. Well, what are the possible options for me, given this is what happened today?
Right.
Can I do X, Y, Z? Is there another possible option?
Oh, wow.
And asking myself, before I commit to this, or even consider these 3, are there any other things I should consider?
Oh, wow.
So it's just kind of the natural way I work. And I guess I do that because I think part of it is I have so many different moving parts of my business. With 50 authors, each author is like a different kind of issue.
A different child?
Well, yeah. I was, because in fact, I told them there on my website today, she said, we found out today that a very well-known mystery publishing company, Midnight Ink is the name of it, is quitting. And my authors were we have our own private Facebook page.
That's amazing.
That we meet on, and we
have a community.
We have a community. It's like having a family table. We get together. We talk about everything that anybody wants to talk about that are any of our authors. And one of them popped up and said, "Did you hear Midnight Ink is closed? What are we going to do?" And the other one says, "Oh no, and so press closed the other day." And someone said, "Patricia, you're not going to quit on us, are you?" And I said, "Do you think a mother would ever desert her children right when they're growing up, I said, "I am committed to this till my last breath, and you are my family, and I will be with you forever." Obviously I can't be with them forever, but what children want to hear.
Exactly.
I was telling him that. But I'm also knowing that each one of them has to have their support in their own different way, too. So I have to give them that.
Every child is different.
You have to give the family support. I'm your mom. I'm going to be here for you. But then each one needs a different kind of support.
Right.
Some of them don't need as much support, but the others have to be, "Oh, you're doing great. You're fabulous. You're wonderful." And others are just kind of, "You go,"
like a nice little pat on the back.
And you don't know. But after a while, and you've done 3 or 4 books with each, it's like putting in several years with a child, and you kind of know what kind of kid they are, and you know if they're going to rebound easily and without a lot of angst when they're down, or if they can tolerate disappointment and things. So I know the ones that are going to need a lot of love and attention, and I know the ones that are just going to it'll just be like water off a duck's back. I know, I can tell, because they're like my children.
They are your children.
They are my children, yes.
You have 2 children,
I
right?
have 2 children, yes.
Because it seems like, well, with your authors, you have this whole extended family, but my mom's one of 7, and my stepmom is one of 12, and my dad is one of 8, I think.
So you come from a very huge family background.
But my mom used to say about my grandpa, because he disciplined each one of the kids differently, was that he must have had a major in psychology somewhere along the way, because he knew how to talk to each
kid differently.
Yeah, like one of my aunts, he just needed to raise his voice a little bit, and she'd burst into tears. And then some of my uncles, of course, needed a little more. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
A little more discipline.
Right, I gotcha.
And so each one, and so you have to figure that out as a parent, but I think it's important as a business owner working with clients to figure that out too. You have to tailor your approach.
What do they need? I understand completely. Yeah, that's exactly what I do. I feel that way.
And that's understanding.
Truthfully, I wish I knew how to handle my own 2 children as well as I can handle.
I'm sure you handle them just fine.
I don't know.
Well, but there's that difference, right? Because although we're joking about your authors being your children, they're still like one step removed. They've never lived with you, and that's where you get into trouble.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
The whole living together thing.
Yeah. I don't want to live with them. That's for sure. It's difficult enough communicating with them online.
Yeah.
A few of them I have actually met in person, and
really?
I love to get to meet them, because when any of them come through the area, I try to get a situation where I can get to meet them.
Nice.
I love to meet them, but that's really hard to do with 50 or so of them.
So where are they located?
They're all over the country,
all over the world?
And I have one in South Africa.
Wow.
I have one lady she's now in Seattle, but she used to live in France and England. She moved back and forth in France, and I have maybe 5 or 6 that are in Canada.
Cool. So how do they find out about you? Is it because your niche is so specific?
I knew. Wish I knew. I don't know. They may have people that tell them. I think we're, people that want to publish with a cozy mystery publisher. I think if you go online and write Cozy Mystery Publishers, I think you'll come to us pretty quickly on a search engine.
Are there a lot of Cozy Mystery Publishers?
Well, after Midnight Ink went down the tubes this week, I don't think there are a huge number left.
Are they going down the tubes because there's less of a demand for books, or what's the reason? I feel like people are still reading a lot.
Yeah, people are still reading, and I think some of it is because they're not adapting well to the changes that are happening in publishing. I think Midnight Ink, and I don't know for sure, because if anybody listens to this and it gets to Midnight Ink, I don't want to make any disparaging remarks again, because I don't know their story.
Yeah.
But my guess would be that with some publishers, and I have no idea if it's Midnight Ink or not, but some publishers that have been in business for a long time have had that standard traditional publishing venue or a concept of what a publisher does. We publish books, we provide our authors with a certain amount of royalty, we keep the rest. This is how a traditional publisher functions. And if we can't make money doing that, then we go out of business. As opposed to saying, well, the publishing world is changing, we're going to have to change with it and figure out how we can do that. And it's been easy for me to adjust, because I came in right when it was changing, and I had to adapt immediately. And plus it was easy because the traditional way I realized wasn't going to work for me at all. And the new way was so much easier for me. It was just perfect for me.
And is it easier too because you remain small, or was Midnight Ink small too?
We're still very, very, very small.
Okay.
Midnight Ink is much, much bigger. They have a staff. I have no staff. I have me.
Just you?
Me and a few freelance people. I have a lady that does my website, and I have a lady that does my artwork.
That's amazing.
So that's it. I really, really, really would like a lady or a man to do secretarial work for me, but that's all this stuff costs money.
Yes.
And, I don't have a lot of that. So
Right.
just the fact that you want those people to work for you doesn't mean you can afford those people.
Right, I
You don't
understand.
understand that.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know, what was I saying?
About adapting and then changing.
Yeah. Well, I've adapted, and I think because we utilize the print-on-demand service that Amazon provides so well, we're okay for now. Now, that does not mean that if there would be another major change in
Right.
publishing, and here again, all our eggs are in Amazon's basket.
Yeah.
And if Amazon decided we're not going to do this anymore, we would be in a real pickle.
Oh.
I don't know what we would do, but I can't imagine that they would get rid of print on demand because there's so many people that use it.
I would imagine so.
And they're making a bundle from it, and it doesn't
Right.
really cost them a lot of money.
So
I don't see it going away. They're probably going to tweak it as they go along so they can make more money. It
Right.
won't be so it'll be easier or more profitable for me, but it'll be better for them. But hopefully it won't foul me up in any way, shape, or form.
So then, do you pay them? Is it like a different type of Amazon membership? Do you?
No. We just post our books on Amazon. We post the print books and the ebooks.
Got it.
I get our contract is very strange in the publishing world. As far as I know, no other publisher does a contract the way we do it. Although I've gone through a lawyer, and my lawyer tells me that our contract is perfectly valid.
Okay, that's good.
That our all print sales are mine.
Oh.
The company Amazon just puts it right into the bank account. All ebook sales belong to the author.
Oh.
So there's a complete split.
Interesting.
And I don't have anything to do with the ebook sales profits or anything. And I don't have to. The good thing about this is there are two good things. I don't have to deal with accountants because Amazon just simply puts all the money from print sales directly into my bank account.
Got it.
They put all the money from ebook sales directly into the bank accounts of my authors.
Wow.
So I don't worry about royalties. I don't worry about keeping track of what my authors make and then trying to figure out how much I owe them. I don't have to do any of that stuff.
Wow. And then who's responsible for promoting the book?
We all are.
Okay. So.
I'm basically responsible for promoting the company and making sure. I have a website. All of them are on the website.
Got it.
They all have a page on the website. All of their books are promoted on the website. Anytime I do anything that's in general, they all benefit from.
Right.
I do some small promotions in which I promote a book at a time kind of thing. And anything they do, I will,
Support.
But they then, of course, will be responsible or are free to be responsible to promote their own book. I don't order them to do anything.
Oh, wow.
So if they don't do anything at all, they're probably not going to make any money.
So they have to bear the brunt of their promotion.
Yeah.
Which is up to them to determine.
Right, but that would be the case if they self-published.
Okay, yeah.
The fact that the benefit they get from being with us is they can say that they are published.
Right.
They are not self-published. And for many people, for many authors, that's important.
Right.
They want to be published by a publisher. They don't want to self-publish their book because there is a stigma attached to that. And also, they get their book edited.
Yeah, exactly.
There is a second set of eyes who does this, me, every day, over and over and over again. And I have become, I would say, pretty darn good at it. And I can do it pretty quickly, too. So I can edit a book really well and can pick out things really quickly that they might not see themselves.
Wow. So when you go to a publishing house, I'm just so curious.
Yeah, well, that's fine. Ask. Okay.
When you go to a publishing house, like a big publishing house, when these people are doing these book tours and they have these billboards and certain things, did you get it in your eye? Are you okay? Do you need a Kleenex?
That's never happened to me before. I've been injured. There's eye poison in the wine, and she's trying to kill me. I'm going to have to solve this mystery.
Yeah, this is it. This is the start of a giant mystery.
Giant mystery, yeah. Okay, I'm fine.
Now we have your next book. You're welcome. We just wrote it.
Go ahead.
Are you okay?
Yes,
okay.
I'm fine.
So does the publishing company, those big publishing companies, are they responsible for those things? Like the advertising and promotion behind a book tour?
It depends upon the author.
Okay.
I mean, if you're Stephen King, yeah, the publishing company is going to pay for everything. If you're Bill Clinton or Hillary Clinton or any other famous political figure, the book company will pay for everything.
Okay.
But if you're Joe Blow and being, published by Simon & Schuster, no, you'll probably pay for your own hotel and your own travel to get to wherever you're going.
What if you're Joe Blow and then you have a New York Times bestseller?
Well, good for you.
That's it. Like, so maybe you paid your way into the New York Times bestseller list, and then after that you may reap the benefits.
I don't know that you can pay your way into the New York Times bestseller.
No, well, I mean, like, pay for like your hotel and your own.
Oh yeah, you can do that,
like
but that's not going to necessarily get you into
no.
the New York Times bestseller.
Right.
list.
It just would have. It had to be the quality of the book.
Sometimes, and sometimes it may be more who you know.
Oh, really?
Do you really think that Bill Clinton is a fabulous writer?
No. Did he make the New York Times bestseller?
Oh, I'm sure that book that he wrote with Patterson has probably been on the New York Times bestseller list for quite some time.
There's politics everywhere.
Absolutely. And, it's who you are, too.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a well-known person, if you're, Taylor Swift and you write a murder mystery, plenty of people are going to read it, even though Taylor Swift probably doesn't know how to write anything.
Her name?
I don't know what she can write. She's probably wonderful.
She's probably
She's probably
lady.
A fabulous writer.
Yeah, we have no idea.
I have no idea.
She maybe writes in her spare time.
Could be.
We can't just come on.
But I'm sure she would sell plenty of books.
Right. Well, she has an established brand behind her now.
Yes.
So if she were to branch out into writing, that would just
I'm
be
sure
another extension of her.
But you understand how that works.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the quality of the writing.
Right.
It has more to do with
the power behind the brand.
Of the brand. Mm-hmm. Yes. You're a marketer. You know these things.
Yeah. Right. And there's something to be said. But then on the flip side, if you're Joe Blow and you write a phenomenal
book,
then it will catch on.
Maybe. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. There are phenomenal books out there that haven't caught on.
Do you have a book list on your website?
A book list of...
Like phenomenal books?
Of just general books out there? I haven't put a list of... You mean that I think are phenomenal?
Yeah.
No.
Like, I would be interested to know what you're reading so I could read those things.
Well, here's the problem with me and my reading. I read so many books every day for editing purposes.
Right.
That when I get done and want to sit down with a glass of wine, the last thing I want to do is read another book.
So what do you do to relax?
Well, I probably will watch television.
Yeah.
Or listen to music.
Give your eyes a break.
Yeah, I don't want to look at any more text.
Yeah,
because I do that all day long, and I don't want to do it any more than I have
Does that ever make you sad that you don't read for fun anymore?
Once in a while, I have certain topics, I would say, that interest me. And if I ever run across a book that I feel deals with the topic that is of interest to me, I will probably check it out. Yeah. Not so much that it's a particular author that I care that much about, although there are some authors I would read. But, I...
That's true. I guess I'm not really dedicated to authors either, but I like topics. Yeah,
if there's a particular topic and I find there's a really good new book on a topic I care about, I might sit down to read that. Also, I tend to, seeing as how I spend a lot of time looking at text, oftentimes I'll go for an audiobook.
Oh, yeah.
Because I can listen to that in my car and I don't have to worry about correcting it or fixing the grammar.
Is that a problem for you if you read for fun?
Oh my gosh, I'm going, oh my gosh, typo, spelling error. I'm going like, on an audiobook, I don't have to worry about that because I don't see the typos.
Right. Well, it's like stressful for you to read a book now.
It's very stressful. Right?
Oh my gosh. That's crazy. And you didn't expect this to happen, right? You just wanted to publish your own and your
I
friends?
write my own. I have 2 series, if I can talk about those for a minute. The first one I wrote was called, my area of interest and research was in sound production, human sound production, and did a lot of my doctoral work on vocal behavior and my interest in the voice as a phenomenon, particularly during deception. So how deceptive when people are telling lies, what their voices are like, and the comparison between deception and sarcasm. So how your voice differs when you're telling a lie versus when you're being sarcastic.
Oh, now I feel like you're analyzing me.
No.
Have you been analyzing me?
But anyway, so I decided I'd create an amateur sleuth who used her knowledge of sound and vocal sound to solve murder mysteries.
Wow.
Because you see, all the time I was teaching school and being a researcher, I never got to solve one single solitary murder mystery.
Is that what you wanted to do?
I really did, because they would call me from the local news station saying, we've got this murder, and we understand that you know a lot about sound. Well, can you listen to this guy's voice and tell if he's lying?
Wait, they would do that?
Yeah, and I would say, I'm sorry, but it's not an exact science any more than a lie detector.
Right.
Which measures, your skin and stuff like that, is an exact science. I said I can give you kind of a rough feeling about it, but I can't tell you for a fact.
You can't get on the witness stand?
No, I can't. No vocal analyst can get on a witness stand and say, for a fact, this person is lying based upon, the recording of their voice. But there are a lot of things you can tell from the sound of a person's voice. So my character is Pamela Barnes. And she's a voice analyst and a psychologist, and she has, the first time I wrote this, and she solves a murder in her department. One of the ladies in the department is killed in the computer room. She's strangled by a cord around her neck, and Pamela figures it out by listening to what's recorded automatically, and she hears, and she figures it out who kills her. She's very clever.
Yes.
And I had one guy that reviewed it, and he said, well, it's all very well and good, and it's very cleverly done and everything, but she'll never get another mystery out of it because it's only good for one mystery. Well, I wrote 4 other books.
Why would he say that?
Because he thought it was just a one-shot deal, that only sound would only provide the clues for one murder. There'd be no way that sound could provide the answer to more than one murder. But I wrote 5 books so far.
Great.
And I'm looking to do another one. So that's sort of an academic series. That one, there's 4 other books in that series.
Cool.
Then I wanted to write something.
There's your little cat.
Yeah, that's our logo. That's her.
That's Cosette.
That's Cosette. She's on our logo.
Cool.
And the second series I wrote is the Essie Cobb Senior Sleuth Mystery Series, and it's all about Essie Cobb and all of her buddies in the retirement home. And hey, they go around solving mysteries at the retirement home. And the first one's called Bingoed, and in this one, this old fella collapses when he wins the bingo game, and he wins the prize, which is $1, and he collapses, and Essie thinks that there's something devious going on, that somebody has done something to his tea or something or other. So
wait, but I used to work in retirement communities, so this is interesting.
It is, right. So she solves this murder. Well, it's not really a murder, but he could be a murder.
It could be a murder.
He's in the hospital, and some horrible things happen to him.
Prize.
And so anyway, there's 4 in this book. There's Bingoed, there's Papoosed, there's Valentined, there's Ghosted, and then there's Firecrackered.
Oh, wow.
And in Firecracker, the old fella gets a firecracker hits him in the behind, and he's knocked over, and she has to solve. She thinks somebody's out to get him, and people are out to get him. So she has to solve that.
What's the Ghosted?
Ghosted is she's watching Wheel of Fortune on her TV, and all of a sudden her dead husband appears on the television.
Oh, whoa.
And that's kind of scary.
Yeah, this is creepy.
It's creepy. She has a lot of creepy things happen to her, but they're all funny.
That's good.
They're all funny, creepy things that happen to her.
And they're all like real life, like
things that might
happen in a retirement community.
Well, my mom lived in the Independence Village right across from Mason, and she she died after this one was published, but before she got to see this one come out.
Good.
And I told her it was all about her, and so she would carry it around in her walker, and every time she stopped, she'd, "This is about me. My daughter wrote this book about me." And she was so proud.
Yeah, that's
that,
sweet.
and she was convinced that, we'd drawn this picture of her.
Does she look like that?
No. But anyway, that was her. So
what was her name?
Dorothy.
Dorothy.
But this is Essie. So, but anyway, I had so much fun writing this series because this one's serious. I mean, this is a serious
some
mystery.
research, right?
There's a whole lot of research that goes into this, because if you're interested in forensic acoustics, this will be the series for you. If you're interested in funny old people.
I think I want to read those.
This is it. And the other one I brought to show you is something that's really unique to us, to Cozy Cat Press, is that because I told you that we have our own author page, and our authors are very much like a family.
Right.
We do books together as a group.
Cool.
And we've done a cookbook together.
Really?
We have done a short story collection together. And this one is an actual mystery in which each author in our company wrote a chapter.
May I look at it?
Yeah, sure.
Wow.
So chapter 1 was written by somebody, and then he sent it on to the next person. She wrote the next chapter. She sent it on to the next person. And each person that gets the book has no idea what what's
So you just have
coming
to read
next.
it and
we
put
had
your
no outline,
chapter?
no nothing. We just sent it on to the next person on the list.
Wow.
Until it was done.
And then you edited it.
I edited it when it was done.
And published.
And published it.
Oh,
It is
yours.
so much fun to read.
Yeah.
Because every chapter is by a totally different person.
Cool.
And you get a sense of what they're like when you read the chapter, and yet the whole book goes together because it's all about. It all has a total single plot to it.
So who did the first chapter? Who starts it?
Well, I'll tell you. You just turned to the first page. I forget right now.
How did you have a?
Chapter
Did someone
1
volunteer?
By Christian Belts.
Yeah.
If you go to each chapter, it tells you who wrote each chapter.
How did you decide who would do the first?
Oh, they
chapter?
volunteered.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they said, I told them chapter 1 is going to be this date.
Wow.
If you need it in by this date, chapter 2 will be, you need it in by
and
this
they
date.
just
And they
kinda
just
sign
signed
up?
up. It's like a sign-up sheet, for
That's amazing.
to bring cookies to the.
Exactly.
Would you do the cookies for this week and for your book club?
Right.
You bring the wine for this
Yes.
week, and so you sign up for
And
the week
that's
you
what we
want.
did.
And
Yeah.
that's what they did. So they signed up
Wow.
for the week they wanted to write, and then they knew what chapter. If you were signing up for week number 1, you knew you were writing chapter number 1.
And are the deadlines strict?
Very strict. And we are doing another one. We're right in the middle of it. It's called Wheel of Death.
Ooh.
And we just finished chapter 15. Just got put into the book. It's going to be 20 chapters long. So we got 5 chapters to go.
Wow.
It is a humdinger. It is so good. I'm like, oh boy, I can hardly wait to get each chapter in because I don't know what's going to happen.
Wow.
And I know I have to write the last chapter.
Oh,
and
you
then
do?
I'm going to write the last chapter and then edit it. But right now it's at chapter 15 and it's like,
So you get to decide how the story ends?
yeah, but if you're reading a 20 chapter book, by chapter 19,
You
you should
kinda
have
figure it
a
out.
really good sense of where it's going. It's not like I can kill everybody off
Right.
and then start over again. So I wouldn't do that.
Tie it all
Anyway.
together.
Yeah, and if anybody does kill anybody off between now and then, I'm going to be real annoyed. Because,
Well, you have 5 chapters.
right, I know.
You
But,
might.
right, but we've got a main character, and I hope none of them are listening, because please don't. If you are listening, please don't kill off the main character.
Oh.
I would be terrible, because if I had to deal with, I don't know what I would have to do if they kill off the main character. That'd be terrible.
So you still get some writing in then? Because it
I
seems
do,
like you're doing
and
a lot
there's
of editing
nothing
and
I do.
publishing.
Yeah, and sometimes I write short stories and things. But I do want to do another. I do want to do book 6 in the Pamela Barnes series. I've been asking for suggestions because I really want to do a terrorist related story. I want to do something where I'm thinking what might happen is there might be a television presentation on the networks of some big major terrorist who pops on, and then they post his threatening warning, like, we are the Sukata tribe or something or other, and we are going to blow up the so-and-so.
Yeah.
and if you don't do such and such, and then and the government is going crazy trying to figure out who they are and where they're broadcasting from, and blah blah blah. And she notices something in the video or the audio of the, because everybody in the government's probably looking for visual things in the background, but she hears something in the sound. Maybe it might just be a click or just a breeze or kind of a sound in the background. But she, with her equipment and things, she can hone in on that sound, pull it out, extract that one frame, expand it, and then listen to it and look at it she can look at it. You can look at sound as well as listen to sound, but you can look at it from looking at the different formats of the sound, so you can see what the sound looks like.
And you can pull it apart.
And see if different elements of it are indicative of certain, maybe a tree or a sound of a train or what different things that it might be that might clue her in on where they're located. So that's sort of like the germ of what I want to do with it. I'm not sure, how to expand it yet. Her husband's an amateur cook too, so I was thinking I might take them to a big city and have him be in a amateur cooking contest, and then have her determine that maybe the terrorists are located in the big city where the cooking contest is located, and that they're both in danger, and might even be in the hotel or near the hotel where they're. I'm thinking of different ways to present her knowledge and connect it in a way that it would be interesting for readers, and something she could do that makes sense given her knowledge base, but also that would be something that the government people who are in forensic science and who would have more than enough knowledge about this might not be paying that much attention to, that they'd be focused in on different elements of the recordings. I don't know. I put this online for my authors.
You did?
Oh, I said, this is what I want to do.
You kind of test the idea before you write it?
And a lot of them have written back. In fact, I even put it on our webpage.
Oh.
And on our Facebook webpage, saying if any of my readers are interested in me doing another Pamela Barnes book, this is sort of what I have in mind. If anybody has any ideas,
so you're like crowdsourcing.
Crowdsourcing the idea.
Wow.
But
what's their response been?
Yeah, some of them have. I don't have enough yet. I need more. I need to flesh it out more, and I can't do it right now because right now I'm smack dab in the middle of doing the Wheel of Death.
Right.
So that's going to be finished early November, and once I get that done, we want to have it out for Christmas.
Cool. So, wow. So when you
and it's going to be in the WESOS booklet, holiday booklet.
Oh, really?
I'm going to have an ad in it. I've already been working on the ad for the WESOS booklet that goes out for holidays. So.
I think that's great. And then you can buy it on Amazon, right?
Oh, yeah. You'll be able to get it.
So then it's easy to get.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Do you always test your ideas for a book?
No, I've never done that before, but this one's been nagging at me in my mind for a long time, and I can't. Usually when something nags at me, I can flesh it out really quickly.
Yeah.
And I can zoom right into the writing process.
Right.
This one has been nagging at me, and the fleshing out process is not fleshed out yet.
Okay, so I
need more flesh on the bones.
That's because I always just assumed the romantic version of an author holed up in a cabin somewhere drinking too much.
Yeah. Well, the drinking too much problem is not the problem.
At least I can help you with something.
That doesn't help. Yeah. Unfortunately, I wish it did help to drink too much, but that doesn't seem to help the fleshing out process. I just need it clicks or it doesn't click, and I'll get it or it'll. And sometimes if I just sit down and plow through it, it will work. But
really.
But right now I'm really I'm a real stymied about it. But it's not something I'm fretting over because it's not the only thing I do.
Yeah, exactly.
If I couldn't get my act together and get things published and edited, then I would be, what's wrong with you, Patricia? Get your act together. But just because I can't flesh out a particular plot line is not causing me great distress or anything. I've got plenty on my plate to do. So Yeah.
That's good. So then is writing still fun for you? It seems like it. You lit up when you were talking about it.
And usually when there's a plot thing that comes to me, it'll come fast. And it'll
Like
be
lightning?
like, boom, like lightning. And I go, oh, why didn't I think of that? That will be it. And if it does come to me like that, it'll go down. It'll just roll out just like
When
that.
does it come to you? Is it like in the shower, or is it?
No,
Are you like driving?
No, I don't recall. Maybe driving, but I don't recall anything ever coming to me in the shower. But no, I would say more likely in bed.
Oh,
when you're sleeping
Yeah.
or you're just starting to fall asleep.
Right.
Oftentimes, and then
Your mind is racing.
I'm the kind of person who probably should keep a tablet and pen beside their bed, because a lot of times I'm falling asleep and I go, oh, I should write that down. And then I'm asleep, and then I forget about it when I wake up in the morning. But that's probably maybe when I'm most creative, and the thoughts come to be the best.
I read something recently that was saying that you should ask if you have a question or you're struggling with something, like ask your subconscious, write it down before you go to bed.
I've heard that too. Yeah,
and then you'll think about it.
You'll think about it. Yeah.
Well, I did that, and I didn't wake up with any profound answers. So it's a crock.
Maybe you should ask me the questions, and I'll wake up with an answer for you, and then you ask my question, and I'll wake up with an answer.
Yeah,
for you.
That's true. Which happens a lot.
Yeah.
I do get a lot of answers from my clients, and I'm like texting them at weird hours, like, have you thought about this
or that? Yeah, that would be a good idea.
It's a lot harder to do that for your own business.
Yeah.
Or yourself. It's always
and
I've
been agonizing over this one for so long, and so it is really, really on the back burner.
Yeah.
But when it hits, it'll hit. I'm not dreading. I mean, it's not like something what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? It's
because
not
you
like
trust
that.
the process.
I do trust the process, and it's not like I haven't ever produced a book.
Right.
I've got 10 books, I produced, and
it's
maybe
amazing.
My brain is going, well, 10 is enough, so give up. I don't know.
Maybe the process is just slowing down a little bit.
Yeah, and
You've got a lot on your brain.
Yeah, my brain is busy with other things right now. So.
I just have one more question, because I think we've been doing this.
Okay,
How long
go
have
for
we
it.
been doing this? Well, nobody knows.
He's getting bored.
He's not. He's fine. So did you, when you were doing your teaching communications, and then you knew you were going to retire, were you already writing at that point?
No. Never crossed my mind.
Really? Mm-mm. When did you start writing? When you were retired?
Yeah, when we retired, we moved up here for family. And I thought, truly, I was just going to retire and just relax and watch television and just drink wine and go out with my sister and have lunch. And that's what my husband doesn't go out and have lunch with my sister or drink wine, but he does sit around and watch television a lot. I figured I'd do that too.
Yeah.
But I did that for a couple of weeks, and I was bored to tears.
Yeah.
I could not stand it. And, I wasn't going to go back to work because I didn't, I really liked the idea about staying in my pajamas and not having to get up at the crack of dawn. That part I liked.
Yeah.
But I didn't like the not doing anything part. So that's when, I guess I started thinking about, and for a while I did some blogging.
Oh, okay.
Because blogging was big back then. And I blogged about things that were related to my job and communication-oriented kind of stuff. And that was kind of interesting. And so it really kind of gave me an exposure to online, to the online stuff.
Okay, that introduced you.
Yeah, at this point I didn't really know anything about book publishing or anything or online book publishing. Blogs were new, and everybody was doing one, so I thought, that'll be fun.
Cool.
And I did that for a while, and then I guess somewhere or other along the line, I saw book publishing and started reading more, and then realized the kind of things I like to write were the kind of things I like to read, and met my friend who also writes, and we started gathering and started writing and reading each other's work.
Cool.
And just, we got more interested in writing, and it, after a while doing some writing and submitting this and getting nowhere with it, and would have been, if I were 20, I would have been fine with just continuing to submit it, different places, taking my time, doing the revisions and trying a different, I would have been fine taking 5, 10 years, whatever it would have taken. But then what do I do all the time that I'm retired, the rest of the time?
Yeah.
It was, I was blogging, but, I was getting bored with that. It was just kind of dull. It just wasn't enough.
Okay.
And I had 2 blogs. They were totally different. I even forget what they were, but they were 2 blogs, and I was totally bored. Totally bored with it. I mean, it's just like you write a little blog, then you write another little blog, and you're done for the day. I mean, I wasn't active enough.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't anything like when I was teaching and doing research. I was just busy all the time. This was just not enough busy for me. So I thought maybe the writing would keep me busier. And it did, until I realized that the writing in and of itself was over unless you wanted to start and write another book. But the getting published part was going to just be a lot of waiting. And I didn't want to be just sitting around waiting. So I said, well, let's see what it takes to be a publisher. And so I just said, I could do this, I mean.
That's amazing.
Yeah, well, you don't have to live in New York City. You don't have to, I mean. There are small publishers everywhere in all sorts of cities.
That's so great.
In fact, there are lots of publishers in Chicago.
Oh, really?
Oh, my gosh, yeah. There's a huge publisher in Naperville. Source Books. I think we talked about this.
Oh, yeah. I think
Dominic Rocca runs Source Books, which is a huge publishing company, and it's in Naperville.
Wow.
So,
is your friend still write with you? The one you started with?
She's much older than me, and she's, health-wise. So I think there's, she produced 2 books, which I published, and beautiful, lovely books. But no, she's kind of given up on it. But, so I wish she would write more, because she's a good writer.
Are you still in touch with her?
Yes, absolutely.
That's good.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. You have this whole other second career that you didn't even know. You weren't like waiting to retire so you could start writing.
No, it wasn't. It never crossed my mind to do it. Never crossed my mind to do it. So,
are writing and teaching different? Is there one you like more? Obviously they're different, but is there one you like more than the other?
What I liked about teaching was I really liked human interaction.
Yeah.
I loved working with students. I loved doing research where I did a lot of experimental research where I worked with people and human subjects.
Yeah.
That was fabulous. I loved doing that. And I loved a lot of the other professors I worked with. Not all of them.
Right. Yeah. You don't have to love everybody.
But actually, they all appear in this book.
Oh, really?
All under fake names.
That's amazing. You always wonder what that character means to the author.
Well, only this book. I mean, and my mother in this book. But other than that, once you get past this book, they're all made out of my mind. But in this book,
does your husband read your books?
I make him read them because he's a former English teacher, so he's a really great grammarian, and he doesn't read all of my author's books, but he reads mine, so I can get a fresh, because I don't have anybody else to. Well, I do. We usually bring in somebody, pay somebody to edit mine, because I don't trust myself to do that. But I miss that. I miss the human interaction.
Yeah.
I miss doing experimental research. Really miss that. And but I don't miss dressing up. I don't miss wearing high heel shoes.
Nope.
I don't miss having to to go places at the crack of dawn to do things.
Yeah.
And, I really like being able to work at home from my computer, although it's exhausting to sit at a computer all day long too.
Yeah,
and I love I love WeSos, because I love to get up from my computer and score. I belong to a number of different business groups.
Oh, right, score, yeah.
And WeSos, and I love just being able to get up and go out and interact with people, because my business is literally I'm attached to that computer.
And it can be lonely.
It is very lonely. I just love going out, because I love talking to people and hearing what's going on in their world. And
well, I was telling you, I work weddings on the weekends.
Yeah.
And so that gives me, because I work a lot by myself too with my computer. And so that gives you a human interaction. Although I think I'd like to change that at some point. I don't want to always be working weddings, but it's nice because you get to interact with all the people in the restaurant. So you have, because there's weddings, but then there's this huge restaurant, so it's all the servers and the kitchen.
Yeah, I like that. Just the noise and the humanity of it all.
The pace.
It's
very
fast, and people are running around doing stuff, and you don't have that when you're sitting at your computer.
Yeah, you don't. And I'm a little concerned that when I no longer need that job, what's going to fill that void? Because
the WISOs and just go to more of those.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you could literally go to a meeting every day.
Yeah.
It's like AA. I need my fix. I got to go to a meeting so I can have a one-on-one with somebody or other today.
Exactly.
So
that's true.
Have some human interaction.
Yeah, because it's important.
It's very, to me particularly. I know some people don't.
Yeah, that's true.
But I care, and I need. It's like a fix or something.
Yeah.
You need to have
I need that human interaction too.
Human talk and conversation.
Well, right.
I get it.
And it gives you fresh ideas and fresh perspective.
It does. I cannot tell you, my mind has changed dramatically from both of these, both groups, WISOS and the SCORE, in ways that I did not anticipate or expect.
Right.
I went to both of these looking for something, kind of even knowing what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And not getting it, but getting something totally different.
That's cool.
So, but you got to be open to that.
Right.
You got to say, well, I'm not getting this, that's for sure. But wow, I didn't expect to get this, and there it is. And it never crossed my mind that would help me and open my mind to something new in this area.
Right.
And I kind of feel like, because of my attitude about brainstorming, I'm open to these kinds of things. I'm open to getting information and ideas and things from different directions. And you have to always be open to different people's approaches and ideas. And, just because they're not you or from your background, it doesn't mean that they might not have a fabulous idea.
Well, right. And I think part of being open to ideas and brainstorming and different choices is also like different experiences.
Right.
And so networking is an experience.
It is. Yeah.
And different networking groups provide different experiences.
It does. They do.
So then just being open to that, which is good, because I feel like sometimes I go into a networking group and I can leave disappointed because I think, like I didn't get what I want. But maybe I should be open to, I probably got something out of it.
Yeah, I try to say that when I leave these different groups. Like, that really wasn't very helpful to me. But I met somebody, or I heard so-and-so talk about such and such a thing in a certain way that was so different from the way I think about it. So, that's a benefit in and of itself.
It is.
And, if you just keep doing that... and it might seem like a small little thing, but when you aggregate all of the experiences, and we have a lot of them, if you go to a lot of different meetings and things, you're going to have a lot of different experiences that ultimately will aggregate together, and you're going, whew,
look at that.
That's an impressive array that gives me some insight in ways I really didn't have before.
That's true.
So I like it.
Yeah. I think that's a good place to end.
Okay.
Some wisdom. There you go.
And here, let me hand you one of my...
I like that you came so prepared.
Well, here you go. And then your friend can have one too.
Yeah, Marshall, you get a bookmark.
Yay!
Yes.
You can have a...
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Here you go, Marshall.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for helping me and us today.
Yes.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
I can't give you the cat, but...
Marshall has a cat that looks kind of like that, named Fry. But Fry's fatter than that.
Oh. Well, she would be fatter, but she doesn't eat anything for some odd reason. She's kind of off her food.
Fry's always tricking everybody to feed him all the time.